Okay guys, this is an old JQ88 rucksack. I don't know, a couple of you fellas wanted to see some old gear, so I'm gonna bust it out and show it to you. Anyway, you can probably tell this thing is an ancient relative of the Alice pack. It's got 3 pouches on the outside. Basic bucket design, top flap, map pocket on the inside of the flap. It's got an external frame, which I like. Makes it a nice summertime pack. I've used this thing all summer. You know, not heavily. Like, it's not an expedition pack. You gotta respect it. It's got a 1942 stamp in it, so. Anyways, frame, pretty simple. It's got a fair amount of angle to it. Very back shaped. You see the ears here, they kind of come around above your hip bones. And there's a belt, but they call it it's a belly band. It's not really a belt. It goes somewhere behind here, and it's made to secure the pack to your torso while you're climbing or flopping around or whatever you're doing. You notice this big old eye up here. There's another strap that goes through here and secures to your rifle. You wrap it around your rifle once, come back around the back of your head and hook the ring. Come on, man, focus for me. You hook the ring on the strap back into this little guy, and you've got a quick release rifle sling that you don't have to wear on your body. You clip the buttstock sling swivel into this kind of deformed, this one's deformed, and it hangs there at the base of your frame, and it's tied up there behind your shoulder next to the dog's head. And it's actually pretty easy to get right off here and drop it down into your hand. It's an interesting design. I have a couple of these that are complete with both straps, so I've messed around with that. I didn't bring it today, but I do have a Garand that would look right nice packed up with this old thing. Anyways, oh, come on, man. You got leather on the pockets with roller buckles. And it's got these early top load style straps. And if you look, they've got a lock bar inside of them. And this design was dumped because when the webbing, this cotton webbing here, got full of water and then froze, you couldn't get it to work through these tight buckles. So they changed that. These packs went through a few different minor changes over the years. They all have their own little letter as a designation. The buckles changed. I think the buckles on the pouches changed, and till ultimately at the very end, these things had a nice leather strap just like this. It started here and was real easy to do in the winter time, because these are primarily intended for mountain troops because they had a large amount of stuff. This actually is not a small pack, you know. I'd say it's comparable in volume to a large Alice pack. It's slightly larger than a medium. But the way it carries is kind of bulbous at the base. You'll find that with many old packs. It seems like. But I guess it really depends on how you pack it, whether that's a problem or not. There's a song, 80 Pounds of Ruck, that they used to sing as a marching song. Move, dog. I don't know if I'd want to carry that thing with 80 pounds in it for very long or not. See these flaps on the side? There's 3 of them on this particular model. And for a canteen, there's a few different things that have those wire frogs on them, and that's what these are for. And I think I see shovels on here a lot. There's a pick set that goes on there. Axe carriers I've seen. The first aid pouch. You see it sometimes. It looks like a kind of just a rectangle with a button on it, but it's actually a pretty neat little pouch. And there isn't any on the other side because that's where your rifle goes. So if you ever get one of these packs and you wonder why there's no flaps on the other side like this, that's not a mistake. That's how they're supposed to be, because you'll have as much weight hanging on this side as your rifle will put on the other side. Another thing about the frames, if you have 2 of them, I've read that you can take those frames and a pair of skis and make quite an acceptable stretcher slash sled out of a gear sled, or whatever you want to need it for. Probably be hauling out casualties with it more often than not. But I've never seen it put together, but the idea was built into this thing. Now the earliest versions of this have a wood frame, I do believe, a rattan frame. And there are some later versions that have flat pieces of metal on the inside, I guess to make it cheaper or easier to mass produce or something, as they made more of them. I don't know how commonly these ever got issued. I know they were more common after World War II than they were during the war. But it's a good pack. You can find them for pretty cheap on eBay, unless you find a museum quality one, and then they aren't so cheap anymore. But let me unbutton this thing. There's a few more old things in there that kind of go with it, I guess. They're all Vietnam, pre-Vietnam era. Definitely, well, we'll call them Korean War era, because everything's dated in the 50s. So hold on, I'll pull that stuff out. And not everything's old either. I always have to go with a mix, because that's good. You can't just always have old stuff, or you'll be carrying all kinds of weight, and then your hike isn't fun.